WWE has long called its annual Tribute to the Troops show the most important of the year. And this past Friday night on SmackDown, the company produced a star-studded broadcast featuring appearances from CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and other top competitors, as it said thank you to the members of the armed services in Providence, Rhode Island, and around the world. With a blockbuster tag team main event pitting Randy Orton and LA Knight against the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso. The show also promised a continuation of top storylines as the company neared the conclusion of 2023 and the beginning of the road to the Royal Rumble. Find out what went down, who emerged victoriously from the in-ring action, and how each segment panned out with this recap of SmackDown. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streaming.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by the phenom Michael Bullock. Good old MF Michael Fletcher will be coming in a little bit late. His mind is elsewhere right now, of course. His team, the Miami Dolphins, are playing right now against the Tennessee Titans. And as soon as MF comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed. And we'll go from there. But for tonight, we got a very special edition of Ridiculously Raw. Of course, over the weekend, we did not do any shows due to circumstances and other things beyond our control. But I felt it was imperative that we reviewed Friday Night SmackDown because of the fact that it was here and it was a newsworthy show. So we're going to get into this. We're going to get into Ridiculously Raw. And then I will have the results of the Impact Wrestling Final Resolution special that went down this past Saturday. So with all that being said, let's dive on in. Of course, this past Friday night, SmackDown presented Tribute to the Troops, and it took place this past Friday night from the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, Rhode Island. Myself, MF, and Michael Bullock, along with a good friend of MF's from his work, we went over and we took it in along with some other friends who were in different sections, but it was a great night, and we're going to start it off. Of course, before the show, we had a special rendition of God Bless America by the War and Treaty, which was unbelievable. If you have a chance, if you DVR'd this show, go back and listen to that anthem. That was beautifully done. I mean, I heard those two sang the national anthem before the Green Bay Packer Detroit Lion game back on Thanksgiving, and they killed that too. So you're going to be hearing a lot about those two, about that duo for years to come, believe me. And we started off, and also we had a very special guest commentator. Normally, of course, when it's SmackDown, it's Kevin Patrick, Mike, and Corey Graves. But not only did we got Kevin Patrick and Michael Cole, but no Corey Graves. For this show, WWE felt it was only fitting that we brought in the man who orchestrated Tribute to the Troops in the first place, WWE Hall of Famer John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, returning the commentary for one night only. I watched it back on TV, and let me tell you, he was the same riot he's always been. We started it off with the first match of the number one contenders tournament for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Return match from the Survivor Series. Dragon Lee squaring off against Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar wins the match, 9 minutes and 9 seconds. This match, a rematch from Survivor Series, highlighted the in-ring chemistry of the competitors. With that said, it was hardly the showcase two immensely talented individuals should have. Interrupted by a commercial break, and with the dark cloud of NXT North American champion Dominic Mysterio hanging overhead, the match was merely good when it had the potential to be great. Hopefully, we have an opportunity to see Lee and Escobar tear it up for 20 minutes on a premium live event one day. And that was really all there was to say on that. So, solid 3 stars. That's the rating I'm going to give it. So, no surprise about the outcomes. So, not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, come on in. Santos Escobar defeating Dragon Lee, 9 minutes and 9 seconds to kick off the in-ring action from this past Friday night's Tribute to the Troops as we saw firsthand.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun show that the three of us got to see, along with MS friend from work and some of the people we know from Special Olympics Rhode Island who were in different sections. But this was definitely a good match to start it off, and I'll give it 3 stars here, maybe teetering on 3.25. Um, the action was fast paced, and yeah, I mean, of course, before that, Dominic Mysterio came out because that was the man that Dragon Lee was going to be facing. And as soon as I saw this, I'm like thinking, oh boy, this match isn't going to end cleanly. But no, Santos Escobar won cleanly, so which was a little surprising. But Escobar moves on, and yeah, so now the question is, who will he be facing? Well, we're going to find out later on in the other match that we got to see as part of that United States Championship #1 contenders tournament. So I'll give it 3.25. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. And then we had a special in-ring segment from and a surprise appearance from the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. All it was he was only there to merely put over the importance of Tribute to the Troops. And we got some breaking news from the NFL. The New York Giants have just upset the Green Bay Packers. The Giants have won it 24-22 on a walk-off field goal by Michael Bullock's fifth cousin, Randy Bullock. So cousin Randy came through for you, Bullock. How about that? All kidding aside, though. But all kidding aside, though, the just to clear it up, there is no relation between Michael and Randy Bullock. But I know if there was, I know Michael Bullock would be very proud. So what a moment. The Giants knock off the Packers 24-22. Boy, the NFC playoff picture just became all shook up now. So, and we got MF's Dolphins still in action against the Titans. It's 27-21 Miami, 2:40 to go. That's why MF is not with us right now. He's on the edge of his seat right now. So hopefully we'll get him in soon enough and we'll catch him up on what he missed. So, all right. Then we had, like I said, now before let me just do a little quick backstory here. Cody Rhodes usually puts out his WWE itinerary for the month, highlighting what shows and what cities he's going to be in, whether it's for Raw or SmackDown or live events or pay-per-views, house shows. And I noticed that December 8th in Providence was not originally on the itinerary. That was until Friday itself, when Michael Bullock called me up on Friday afternoon, early Friday afternoon, right around noon, 12:30 or so, when a friend of his found the WWE Twitter page, and it said that Cody Rhodes was going to be there after all. And all Cody Rhodes really did was, put over the importance of Tribute to the Troops and showcase the video package of past Tribute to the Troops events, of course, with John Cena there being the focal point of it. So, I mean, all it was Cody Rhodes made a special appearance Friday night, thanking the troops in attendance and around the country. The perfect face of the company. He was fantastic here as he showed gratitude and thanks while never coming off as fake or forced. Great use of a star of his magnitude. And that's really all we can say on that. And then we had the other match of the United States Championship #1 Contenders Tournament. Bobby Lashley squaring off against Karrion Kross. Bobby Lashley wins the match 9 minutes and 46 seconds. Lashley advances. He will now face Santos Escobar this upcoming Friday night. Or I should say on a future show. We don't know when that'll be yet, but Bobby Lashley wins, and Bullock, we had another special guest commentator, a surprise guest commentator joining in on this match. The voice of college football on CBS, the one and only Brad Nessler, who was there to promote the Army-Navy game, as Bobby Lashley defeated Karrion Kross in 9:46 to advance.
Well, that was yeah. I mean, as we were looking at the commentators, we were like thinking, "There's a fourth guy there," and I'm like thinking, "That looks like Brad Nessler from the SEC on CBS, and the guy who was calling the Army Navy game." I mean, what a special treat that was to have Brad Nessler as part of the commentary group. But yeah, I mean, this was a hard hitting match. I mean, but to me, the outcome was never in doubt. I'll give this about maybe 3 stars on this one. So the right man to me went over on this, but I know for you, Florio, the highlight for you was getting to see your favorite come out. I mean, you've seen it so many times on TV, but to see your girl, the Smoke Show, I'm sure that had to be the highlight of your night.
It wasn't the highlight of the night. Let's
Oh, come on, Florio. We know it was because we know your affection with the Scarlet.
Yeah, but I don't want Karrion Kross coming after me. Let me just say that right now. I got to choose my words carefully.
That's right.
So it was one of the many highlights of the night. There were way too many highlights on this night. That was not the highlight, but it damn sure was one of them. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. But, yeah. So 3 stars. It's yours, Florio.
3 to 3 1/4 here. It was clear that they were building Bobby Lashley as more of the babyface in this match, even though he's technically supposed to be a heel. But nonetheless, I'll say it like this: the overwhelmingly positive reaction to Lashley was understandable, given his stint as a sergeant in the Army. But his spot in the semis against Santos Escobar suggests he will be the fan favorite again when that match goes down. And it really begs the question here. It begs the question, has WWE given up on Lashley and the Street Profits being heels, or is this merely a case of booking as needed? Time will tell. 3 to 3 1/4 stars on this one. And then we move on to, oh boy, what a segment here. CM Punk. CM Punk comes out, cuts a promo, and all we can say is the three of us, some of the things that he said during this promo, oh my goodness. I mean, no question about it. This was the segment of the night. There is no doubt about that. This is what a lot of people were hoping that this was the CM Punk we were hoping to see that Monday Night Raw after Survivor Series a couple of weeks ago in Nashville. If anyone watched his promo back from that show, that Raw, and was concerned that we were somehow in store for a neutered or subdued best in the world, he eased all concerns with a fiery promo Friday night that left no stone unturned. He referenced past issues with Kevin Owens, history with Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman, called Roman Reigns out for never being around, and played up the which brand is he going to sign with storyline. Yes, he even dropped a reference to both AEW's All Out 2022 Brawl and its physical altercation with Jack Perry at All In 2023 at Wembley. He also took shots at the reigning World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins, seemingly planting the seeds for that hotly anticipated championship bout. His final mic drop statement about finishing his story by headlining WrestleMania should serve to create doubt about Cody Rhodes rolling into the Royal Rumble and winning the titular match. This was everything anyone could have asked for, with sound bites that will be played over and over for weeks and nods to potential upcoming storylines for the former WWE champion. Monster reaction for Punk from the fans in Providence, including us. He said the good news is that it's the top of the 9 o'clock hour. I'm not on last, so I won't get my time cut. Chant all you want. And we did. A friend of mine who welcomed me back home famously likes to come out here and say, what do you guys want to talk about? Referencing Cody Rhodes. Tribal Chief, I acknowledge you. Congratulations on all your success, but don't forget who the original Paul Heyman guy is. Don't forget that he was my wise man first. And he said, I don't know who would feel comfortable working with someone who just randomly punches people in the face backstage. It's 2023. You just can't be doing that. He said, totally and only referencing Kevin Owens' penchant for knocking out Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. But of course, the one thing that he said that really did it for us, it was during Seth freaking Rollins, when he said Seth freaking Rollins, you're not even the man in your own household. Obviously referencing Seth's wife, of course, Becky Lynch. And oh boy, when he said that, oh my goodness, the three of us just lost our minds. And that's really all I can say on that. So no question about it. The segment of the night, Michael Bullock, I mean, what a moment. CM Punk here in Providence. We took it all in. And no question about it. It was the segment of the night. He said a lot of great things, but of course, what really did it for us was when he said to Seth freaking Rollins, you're not even the man in your own household. That did it.
Oh man, when he said that, we both lost our minds. We were like, damn, did he just really say that? I mean, you want to talk about throwing wood on the fire, but anywho, this is the CM Punk that everybody was expecting on that Monday Night Raw last week, but we got it this time, and yeah, the basically calling out the tribal chief and basically saying, I'm the original Paul Heyman guy. So yeah, a lot of things that was said, but all in all, the atmosphere, I mean, the crowd went nuts when he came out, and all the CM Punk chants that we got, that was just freaking awesome. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say except segment of the night, so let's move on.
The latest chapter in one of the greatest women's rivalries of all time. Charlotte Flair one-on-one with Asuka. Asuka wins the match, 6 minutes and 42 seconds. But Michael Bullock, that's not the big story. The big story here, during the match, there was an apparent botcheroo during this match. A botcheroo that may have cost the Queen substantial time. You heard it. Charlotte Flair said, my knee. And when you hear that, you're like, ruh-roh. We might be without the Queen for the foreseeable future here, if it's as bad as we think it is.
Yeah, we still haven't heard any update on the injury, but from some of the reports I've heard via PW Insider, they said with WrestleMania being like, I mean, less than 4 months away, depending on the severity of it, I mean, there's a chance that the Queen may not be ready for WrestleMania. I mean, we still have yet to hear how bad it is, but yeah, I mean, all I can say is I really hope the injury's not as bad as what we think, but yeah, I can only give this about maybe 2.25, 2.5. But obviously, they had to cut the match short because of that injury to Charlotte. So I hope and pray from that the injury's not as serious. But with some of the things I've been hearing, it may not look good. But we won't know for sure until we get the official update on her injury. So nothing more to say, Florio. I did tell you what I told you earlier on with the report from PW Insider, and if it's true, we may not see the Queen for WrestleMania.
Any year, it's devastating, but this WrestleMania is very special because this upcoming WrestleMania is going to be the 40th anniversary. 40 years of WrestleMania. And to be without a woman who, without a doubt, has been considered the face of this division and the best of this generation, whether you love her or you hate her, in the Queen Charlotte Flair. Another one of the highlights of the night for me, to get to see Charlotte Flair. I mean, everybody knows how much I love Charlotte Flair for many reasons. She's Ric Flair's daughter, of course. You guys know how much I love Ric Flair. One of my heroes growing up. Of course, Charlotte's beauty. Not only that, because she's a beautiful young lady, which we all know she is, but it's also her athleticism and and how polarizing a figure she has been. And I know she's garnered a lot of heat and a lot of haters over the years for getting these opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and a lot of people feels that she has held back some more deserving female talent over the years, like a Triple H or a John Cena way back when. But whether you like the woman or not, you got to feel for her, and there's no question about it. Prayers up for the Queen, and I hope and pray that she gets through this quickly. I pray for immediate healing, and I hope and pray for the speediest of recoveries. To be without the Queen for WrestleMania, I mean, that would be wow. I mean, I think 37 was the last time we did not have Charlotte Flair at a WrestleMania. So that would be yow. But as far as the match is concerned, it's a 2.5 star match. Hopefully she's not seriously injured and does not miss considerable time. As for the match, the story is so firmly centered on Bayley's diminishing relationship with her own team that the babyfaces on the SmackDown roster are almost left in limbo with nothing of real note or interest to do. Such was the case here, as Charlotte felt like the third wheel in this ordeal. 2.5 stars, prayers up for the Queen. There's no question about that. So, and that leads us into our main event of the evening, as it was Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso squaring off against, teaming up for the first time ever, LA Knight and Randy Orton. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 34 seconds. Randy Orton and LA Knight. Randy Orton with an RKO on Jimmy Uso for the win. So there's nothing left for me to say except this was the fight of the night here. 3.25 to 3.5 stars is my rating for this. Of interest was that Paul Heyman was not by the side of the Bloodline just moments after CM Punk reminded the world that he was his wise man first. How that factors into this upcoming week's show in Green Bay, and if Heyman has to answer for his absence, will be of the utmost interest, because remember, Roman Reigns is going to be there. So this was a 3.25 to 3.5 star match, and Michael Bullock, I mean, you did have to step away for a moment during the show, but I know you told me you overheard the deafening ovation for LA Knight and for Randy Orton. These were more guys we were waiting for, and so there isn't anything left for me to say here. 3.25, teetering on 3.5. Fight of the night here. So Michael Bullock, come on and let's get your thoughts on the main event. LA Knight and Randy Orton winning over Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, 11 minutes and 34 seconds. And theme of the night, the place popped big for LA Knight and for Randy Orton. Yeah,
that crowd was definitely noisy for both LA Knight and Randy Orton when they came out. But yeah, it was interesting that Paul Heyman didn't come out for the match with Solo and Jimmy, but maybe he's still in talks with the tribal chief, so we'll see what happens with that. So 3.25, 3.5 stars. That's pretty much my rating on it as well. And as far as my overall thoughts on this SmackDown edition of Tribute to the Troops, I thought it was a good show. I mean, you had some good matches, you had some good segments. I mean, we have to obviously put the Charlotte and Asuka by default as the worst fight of the night, even though it really wasn't that bad of a match. It just had to be cut short because of the injury to Charlotte. So I'm going to give this about maybe 8.5. So I really got nothing more to say except Providence, you never seem to disappoint when WWE comes to town. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Would you say it was and of course, let's not also forget, Bullock, this past Friday night happened to be your birthday, so I'm sure it's a birthday you'll never forget for as long as you live. So
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm glad we all got to be a part of it, and I think you may have overscored it a little bit. Not too bad. I'm leaning more towards 7.5 to 8 for me. Over the years, WWE has presented the Tribute to the Troops show, and more times than not, it is a one-off that has very little to do with ongoing storylines. The matches are secondary to the patriotic sentiment, and the broadcast typically ended with a group of superstars saluting the members of the armed forces in the audience. This show still managed to pay tribute to those who serve the country while staying true to ongoing stories. It was the perfect mix of acknowledgement of the special guest service to the country without sacrificing an entire week of narrative. The Punk promo will be the biggest takeaway, as it should. His appearance was the highest touted moment, and he delivered. Cutting a promo that named everyone and thing you could imagine with a flair of that Punk attitude. Did all of the individual segments grade out highly? No. But as a whole, this was a great show and the best tribute show the company has ever produced. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 is my rating for this. And I got another round of breaking news here. I cannot believe I am saying this. The Tennessee Titans have just upset the Miami Dolphins. I can't believe it.
Oh my.
The Titans have shocked the world. The Titans have shocked the Dolphins 28-27. The Tennessee Titans have just stolen one in Miami. Wow.
Oh, if I know good old MF Mike Fletcher, he is probably pissed off like a viper.
I wouldn't blame him. I mean,
and you know what? If he doesn't want to come on the show tonight, we wouldn't blame him for doing it.
No. Absolutely not.
Because we all would have thought this was an easy win for them, but
as the old saying goes, Bullock, I know you know this saying. No, there is no such thing as a sure thing.
Yeah, I know it, and I'm sure you've known it before, and Fletch definitely knows it, but I'm sure he didn't expect it tonight. And a major win here for the Titans, but we still don't know what's going to happen with that number 1 seed. It's still anybody's up for grabs.
Yeah.
I think as of right now, I think it goes to the Baltimore Ravens because of their win yesterday.
It does. Unbelievable.
But man, unbelievable. And like I said, if Fletch doesn't want to come on, I certainly wouldn't blame him.
Indeed. Unbelievable. Just give me one moment here. All right, just excuse me for one moment here. Cold. Yeah, so 7.5 to 8 for me out of that. So yeah, 2 massive upsets here tonight. The New York Giants upsetting the Green Bay Packers, but this is an even bigger upset. The Tennessee Titans stealing one in Miami, 28-27. Miami opened up as a 13-point favorite, mind you. So if anybody picked Tennessee to win this game, you're cashing in big time. That's all I'm going to say. So with all that being said, let's move on now to tonight's installment of Monday Night Raw, which was live from the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio, on the USA Network as always. And we started it off with an in-ring segment Well, it was really a 2-for-1 deal, which of course Monday Night Raw has been known for over the years. Let's see. Oh, well, hold on. For the past couple of weeks, one of the main stories running on both Raw and SmackDown has been where CM Punk will end up when he chooses a brand. Also advertised ahead of tonight's show, Maxxine Dupri versus Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley in a non-title match. Cody Rhodes versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. And Becky Lynch calls out Nia Jax. The next major event is the Royal Rumble pay-per-view on January 27th of 2024, which will come just over 2 months after Survivor Series. WWE rarely has that long between pay-per-views, so it has the chance to let some of its bigger storylines play out and build up without feeling rushed. And we're going to take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show. First match of the night, it was Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. But before anything else, they had some words before the match, and then we got into the match. Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. Drew McIntyre winning the match 13 minutes and 15 seconds. 3.25, 3.5 stars for the effort. Between the promo and the match, WWE gave them the first 30 minutes of the show. This was a solid encounter that improved on the performance they put on a few weeks ago. Both men played their roles well, especially the Scottish Warrior. He has done a great job embracing his heel side lately. McIntyre resorted to using a thumb to the eye to get the upper hand before hitting the Claymore for the win. 3.25, 3.5 stars is my rating for this. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Drew McIntyre defeats Jey Uso in 13 minutes plus.
Yeah, I'll give this about 3.25 to 3.5 as well. I mean, this was certainly a good way to start off the matches portion on Raw. I mean, but of course, Drew got the win first off by gouging the eyes of Jey Uso and then hitting the Claymore. So I'm sure for Drew, it's a little bit of a satisfactory win for him, especially after he feels, well, only in Drew's mind, that Jey was one of the reasons why he didn't win the Universal title. So because of his role in the Bloodline. So we'll see what happens with this, but yeah, so there's really nothing more to say, so let's move on.
Alrighty. And Bullock, you'll start it off here. Just want to find it here. A lot of backstage stuff. Yeah, we had a lot of backstage stuff before we had our next match, which was the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley squaring off against Maxxine Dupri. Rhea Ripley wins the match, 2 minutes, 5 seconds. No need to get into that. Just a dominant showcase win for Rhea Ripley. It was a short but dominant performance from Ripley. It's just too bad the biggest moment in the match was a near botch. So this is going to have to be called a dud, I'm sorry to say. All right, the big moment. We all thought they were going to save this for the end of the night, but no. They gave it to us at the start of the second hour, which, of course, you had a feeling they would do because of the fact that we had not one, but 2 Monday Night Football games on this evening, as we already talked about. CM Punk's decision. Was he going to sign with Raw? Was he going to sign with SmackDown? Or was he even going to sign with Michael Bullock's NXT? I ended up winning the sweepstakes here because CM Punk signed with Monday Night Raw, but then he was interrupted by the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Those two exchanged words. And on top of that, not only is CM Punk on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk has also officially entered the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match. Whoa. All right, Michael Bullock. I mean, he had the segment of the night this past Friday night. He obviously had the segment of the night again tonight. So, Bullock, here you go. CM Punk now officially a Monday Night Raw superstar. And on top of that, he has also entered the Royal Rumble match. And I think we're looking at our new favorite here.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, obviously this has got to be the segment of the night. I mean, everybody kept wondering where CM Punk was going to sign, and obviously it wasn't going to be NXT because, to me, as far as I'm concerned, that's way below his level. So it was either going to be Raw or SmackDown, and then I had to think, look, he's on Raw, and look what happened with Randy Orton when he made his decision. He was on SmackDown, so obviously we were thinking like he's going to end up on Raw, and it makes sense because of who he could potentially face. And speaking of the guy who he could potentially face, he actually came out to confront him, and man, I mean, I actually got chills during this. I mean, the thing is, Florius, Rollins did not hold back. I mean, he literally said that he hated CM Punk. He just like how he was disrespected the locker room. So yeah, there is some bad blood. And of course, that's when CM Punk announced he was going to be in the men's Royal Rumble match at the Royal Rumble. And I told you this, Florio, and I'm telling everybody here watching right now, CM Punk's winning that men's Royal Rumble match because they are setting up that potential match at WrestleMania 40 between CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins. And I think this is where Rollins' run as World Heavyweight Champion is going to come to an end. So, segment of the night, and nothing more to say except it's yours, Florio.
And dare I say, main event of night one of WrestleMania right there? Yeah, no doubt. This was a good piece of business. Both men delivered solid promos and built up a possible match that is going to sell a lot of tickets. There seemed to be some genuine emotion coming from the visionary, which always makes things more entertaining. So there isn't anything else left to say on that. So without a doubt, the segment of the night. Move on to our next matchup, which was Big Bronson Reed versus Ivar. Bronson Reed wins the match, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. And he didn't win it with his tsunami. Oh, no. He won it via a superplex. It is not often that a superplex leads to a winning fall, but in this case, it did. Monday is the home of big, meaty men slapping meat lately, and that trend continued tonight when Big Bronson Reed and Ivar stepped back into the ring for another match. These two behemoths have been trying to prove who the better super heavyweight is, but the WWE Universe has been the real winner in all of this. Modern pro wrestling doesn't have as many big men as it had in the 80s and the 90s, so bouts like this are few and far between in 2023. The match started with both men charging at each other for a massive collision, traded control multiple times, with both men hitting some impressive moves and taking some big bumps. Reed hit an earth-shaking superplex from the top rope to get the win. If this is the end of this feud, they did a fantastic job putting a bow on everything. Pure fun from start to finish. I'm going to give this somewhere in between 2.5 to 3 stars. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Big Bronson Reed defeating Ivar, 7:55 with a superplex of all things, not the tsunami.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it was going to be the tsunami, but I was surprised when he did with the superplex. And it's not too often superplexes put away opponents, but this one actually did. So, yeah, 2.5 to 3 here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on.
And move on we will. I believe Bullock will be starting it off here. Yeah, then we had some Judgment Day and a Judgment Day promo interrupted by R-Truth, and then the Creed brothers showed up. Nothing really significant to speak of there. Well, one thing has been announced, and it was announced that next Monday night on Raw, in Des Moines, Iowa, which looks like it's going to be the final live Monday Night Raw of 2023, with the following week being Christmas night. And the reports are going around saying that night it's going to be a best of show. It will be the Creed brothers will challenge Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship next Monday night. So, and then from there, we had Kaden Carter and Katana Chance squaring off against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance win the match 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Another one of the dud fights of the night, but it came. They only had a couple minutes, so they tried to pack as much as possible in the time they were given. Chance and Carter picked up the win by pinning Hartwell. There's not much more to say. Some of what they did looked good, but the best way to describe this is filler. But it was also announced that on that same show next Monday night, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance will challenge Chelsea Green and Piper Niven for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, also on that same show next Monday night. So, in the immortal words of the late great Chet Kopic, not one, but two tag team championship matches next Monday night in Des Moines, Iowa. So, get ready, Des Moines. Becky Lynch coming out, kind of promo, called out Nia Jax, and well, I'll say this. Segment was short, but it set up a future match. So, not really gonna, go into further details. It was a good segment, but nothing really to speak of here. But it's definitely setting up a future match with those two to finish their story that started 5 years ago, that Monday Night Raw before Survivor Series, when Nia Jax broke Becky Lynch's nose and face, which knocked Becky Lynch out of the Survivor Series that year when she was scheduled to go up against Ronda Rousey. And that knocked Becky out, and that led to Becky Lynch handpicking Charlotte Flair to take her place. 6-man tag team matchup. We had Imperium, all three members, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci squaring off against DIY and a mystery partner. And that mystery partner turned out to be none other than Cleveland, Ohio's own The Miz. The Miz and DIY win the match. 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Hey, Miz has history with both Gargano and Ciampa, but appeared to have set that aside to take on the bigger threat in Imperium. Imperium is one of the best trios in all of professional wrestling. DIY has always been a great tag team. And The Miz is a veteran who is capable of more than most people realize. It will surprise nobody to find out these 6 men put on a great performance. The A-Lister picked up the win for his team after hitting Giovanni Vinci with a skull-crushing finale. The Cleveland crowd cheered as its hometown boys, Gargano and Miz, celebrated with Tommaso Ciampa. Give this about 3.25 stars. But shortly after the match, they had a backstage moment with Imperium. Gunther was chewing out Kaiser and Vinci. And then The Miz shows up and says, "I want a rematch." And Gunther says, "Okay, I'll give you a rematch on one condition. If I beat you, you can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship for as long as I am champion." And Miz simply said, "Done." So somewhere down the road, we will get the return match from the Survivor Series, Gunther versus The Miz, one more time for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. If it's not next week, don't be surprised if they end up doing that on the very first Monday Night Raw of 2024 in a few weeks. So 3.25 stars here. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the 6-man? And of course, Gunther and Miz will throw it down. We'll run it back. We will see Gunther and Miz one more time for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, with the caveat being, Bullock, that if Gunther goes over Miz again, Miz can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship for as long as Gunther is the champion. High stakes whenever that match goes down. So your thoughts? Bullock, are you there? All right. Might have to wait for him to. I don't know if he stepped away or, but nonetheless, Miz and DIY winning the match in 10:40. So solid 3.25 star match as far as I'm concerned, and we'll wait and see what happens when Gunther and Miz have their rematch down the road. So, and then of course we move on to what ended up being our main event of the evening. Cody Rhodes squaring off against Shinsuke Nakamura. Cody Rhodes wins the match via disqualification in 17 minutes and 45 seconds. It was overall a 4-star, about a 4.25 star match, but I got to bump it down to between 3.5 and 3.75. They have been building this story for a handful of weeks through video packages and promos, but this was the first time they've ever been in the ring together as opponents. Their only previous performance together was on the same side of a 6-man tag match in July. So WWE gave them the last 3 segments of the show for this first ever encounter. They're evenly matched in size, speed, and power, but both men use different styles in the ring. Nakamura is a striker and submission specialist, while Rhodes is a more traditional technician. But the great thing about both of them is that they can adjust their styles to work with just about anyone. As their first encounter, they did a good job making this a match worthy of the main event spot, while also leaving plenty of room to grow in their inevitable rematches, especially since it ended in a disqualification due to Nakamura using the red mist. The outcome is not ideal, but it's understandable from a booking standpoint. WWE is already hyping up the day 1 edition of Raw as a big event, so there is a good chance these two have a match that night, possibly with some kind of stipulation. So it's a 3.5 to 3.75 star match for me, and it is the fight of the night, even with the DQ finish. So, Michael Bullock, if you're back in, come on in. Got to get your thoughts on the 6-man tag as well as our main event here. So Bullock, if you're back in, it's yours, or otherwise I'll just continue on here. All right. Yep. So 3.5, 3.75. We're still waiting for Bullock to return here. Overall thoughts. Tonight's Raw had a couple of matches that only existed to fill a few minutes, but most of what we got ranged from good to great. WWE is already creating possible feuds for CM Punk with Judgment Day and Seth Rollins, but the biggest step forward was having him commit to appearing on Raw this week, or tonight rather. WWE could have drawn this decision out for a little while, but having him choose this quickly was the right call. The quick stare down between Rhea Ripley and Ivy Nile created some buzz. A handful of the matches we saw were enjoyable, and most of the promo segments were entertaining and helped advance the storylines they were addressing. Some people might be surprised to find out that one of the biggest highlights on tonight's show was the epic encounter between Ivar and Bronson Reed. It was the Kong versus Godzilla of WWE, and in the end, the Australian Titan scored the win. Even though there are always weak segments in matches, WWE has been trending on the right path recently with most of its feuds. The build-up to the Royal Rumble in the WrestleMania season is going to be an interesting time now that CM Punk is back on Raw and Randy Orton is over on SmackDown with Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. So, I would probably give this right around the same rating, 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. Michael Bullock, if you're back in, come on in and give us your thoughts, or if not, then I'll move on to my quick Tony's take here. All right. So with that, let me quickly run down the results of Impact Wrestling's Final Resolution pay-per-view. Well, not really a pay-per-view. It was on Impact Plus. And here we are. There were 3 pre-show matches. First up was PCO defeating Jesse V in 5 minutes and 25 seconds. Jack Price defeated Aiden Prince in 6 minutes and 31 seconds. And Frankie Kazarian over Sheldon Jean in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. So those were the pre-show fights. Main card. World Tag Team Championships on the line. ABC defending against Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 36 seconds, and still the World Tag Team Champions, ABC. We had Alicia Edwards squaring off against Jody Threat. Jody Threat wins the match, 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Digital Media Championship on the line. Tommy Dreamer defending against Diener. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 38 seconds, Tommy Dreamer. Rascals in tag team action against Speedball Mike Bailey and a mystery partner, which ended up being formerly of WWE and NXT, Trent Seven. You remember Trent Seven from the Mustache Mountain? He teamed up with Mike Bailey, and Mike Bailey and Trent Seven won the match in 15 minutes and 13 seconds. Jake Something versus Jason Hotch. Jake Something wins in 6 minutes and 51 seconds. Rhino versus Moose. Rhino wins the match by disqualification in 2 minutes. And then they restarted the match and made it into a street fight. Moose won that match in 9 minutes and 22 seconds. Knockouts champion Trinity and Jordan Grace teaming up against Deonna Purrazzo and Giselle Shaw. Trinity and Jordan Grace win the match 11 minutes and 1 second. And then the main event of the evening, the Motor City Machine Guns, the World Heavyweight Champion Alex Shelley and X Division Champion Chris Sabin went up against the Walking Weapon Josh Alexander and his partner Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. and Josh Alexander win the match 28 minutes and 8 seconds. So there's your rundown of Final Resolution. And with that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you Wednesday night, 10 p.m. over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, as we will have NXT. As well, here's the thing. We're also going to review NXT Deadline. We're going to review NXT, AEW Dynamite, and preview Thursday Night Football, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. That will be on Wednesday. No show on Thursday since the college football show is done. And then after that, it'll be Friday night, NFL Friday, Week 15 edition. We'll recap Chargers, Raiders, and then we'll get into all the other big games of Week number 15. We got a lot of good ones. The big double main event, the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills, along with the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Other great matchups. We'll get into all that on Friday night. Saturday night, maybe we'll see Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Collision, before we do it all again next Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness over on the MF channel, BraceFan 95, it's Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher. And of course, always and forever, the First Lady, Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on Zone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one. For now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.